Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be building the infamous hunting tiger, the Panzer V Jagdtiger in 1/35 scale by Tamiya. At the end of the Second World War, Germany ordered 150 of these, but only 75 were completed before the war ended. So I did buy this kit secondhand, as I had mentioned in another video. I made sure to ensure all of the pieces were inside of the box. If you guys are going to purchase secondhand kits like me, I recommend you do this here before giving anyone any money. So as you can see, we have the main body and the chassis. We have our instruction manual, our two massive rubber tracks. We then have our wheels and our two figures, I believe. Yes, we have a commander and a driver in this kit. You can see we have some of our hull armor, extra tracks, the back of the tank, our decal kit, and then we have our turret, our nubs to lock our wheels in, and the other half of the armor that I'd already broken off earlier just to take a look at, mocking the tank up. Step 1, attach the two front final drive sprockets. So now that I have all the track links on both the left and right side, I wanted to show you guys these extra pieces that are included in the kit right here. You can see they're quite tiny and quite small. Let's see if I can get the camera to zoom in. There we are. Every time I try to grip those with my tweezers, I end up overpressuring them and shooting them across the room. Maybe I need to get another style of tweezers. I am rather new to the hobby and this is my only set. But it's something to look into in the future because I can't seem to put a reasonable idea in my head of why every time I go to grab these, they shoot across the room. To go ahead and add in some filler putty along the transition line from the side wheel armor to the hull. I might have to remove the tow cable and shovel in order to sand that back down. So if you're copying me and building this kit, I recommend doing this first before attaching these side details. Welcome back to my paint booth. We're going to be putting some all-purpose enamel spray paint as a primer coat on our Jagdtiger. Now that we have our primer down, we're going to start with our first coat for the camo. I'm going with a green, tan, and brick red, which is a late war German camo. I'm starting with the brick red first, and I'm going with about 10 psi on a 3mm nozzle on my airbrush. I put some burnt sienna that indicates some rust on the tracks on both sides. Did this off the camera. I also put some burnt sienna on this wheel. I'm going to be retouching the brown I did in burnt umber with some burnt sienna, as I find it represents the brown German red more than the burnt umber. Now, this is what I got for a track at the end of my 3-part painting on the rubber tracks. I'm happy with the look. It could use a little bit more weathering. If you really want it to be a stickler, I've seen how you can spend hours doing these to really make them look realistic. I'm not to that point of the hobby yet. I think I am suffice with the job I did here, and this will be mounted on the tank looking like this. Alright guys, so mid-video I decided I was going to restart painting. This is as far as I got, and as you can see, the paint job is not very authentic. So we're going to restart by respraying the tank. Switching my paint choice from tan to cashmere tan, I'm a lot more happy with the color of the base coat. I'm now going to add dark hunter green with a mask over top of the tank. So let's get our mask on. Like I said, apply a mask. This is my homemade mask for my Jagdtiger. Just as you can see in the previous paint job I showed you, there was a lot of overspray from my different coats. So let's apply our Hauser dark green. It's important to make sure that even though you're masked up, your transitions from piece to piece line up. add some matte varnish, and then we have to let this dry. And I just wanted to show you guys the result I got. You can see where the masking screwed up a little bit, but I'm gonna try to hide that there when I come over top of it with my red. So let's put some matte varnish on, let that dry, and then tape for our red coat. Before continuing with the brick red color on the tank, I wanted to show you my masking job. Notice how I leave very few areas exposed compared to the green. Some of the paint is still wet, but now you can see my new and improved camouflage job. All right, now that our matte clear coat is on, it's time to paint the different surfaces, like our tracks black on the side, the interior of our hatch white, and the tow cables on the side a steel color. Now that we have our tank details painted, it is time to assemble our tracks. We will do this by putting a small piece of glue along the nipples here. Now using honey brown, cinnamon stick, and roasted pecan from darkest to lightest, we're going to paint the rust onto our exhaust tips. I've now gone ahead and added the tracks to my tank. As you can see on this side, I started doing some weathering with some of the new wash effects I picked up. I also got some thick mud effect and some European earth weathering powder. I'll show you here in a few steps on how I have applied these here. I just want to get the tank fully together before I start going at it with the powders. This is an old kit that I bought secondhand off someone. As you can see, I highlighted in here. There seems to be slots for batteries. And I tried Googling a kit online for motorizing these here. If you have any idea of what this little battery location was for, please comment below and let me know. I'm actually really curious as to what it was for. Here is what I came up with for my exhaust tips. This is with a 3-color variation with the tips painted black to replicate diesel soot. Now we finally have our infamous Jagdtiger or hunting tiger fully together. Now I'm not really overly pleased with the paint job, but I'm not going to restart from here. It's obvious I'm a new and inexperienced modeler of a Tiger tank, and the next one I do, I have a long distance to improve. For example, here we have my first ever completed German tank. Here we have my second non-fully completed German tank. I've still yet to weather this tank and dull it down as it's way too shiny. Now time to apply our decals. Now time to put some Microsol on our stickers and then move on to some weathering. Off camera, I've been applying some wash. I need to go a little heavier down here in the tracks. You can see I broke some of the decal up accidentally. Kind of like the way it looks. Kind of wish I didn't break the decal. This one, I've got to set better. There we go. Time for some Vallejo Pigments European Earth. Now all the extra European Earth weathering powder that's around the tank, you want to spread that around. Next are Vallejo thick mud. So here is my first attempt at painting figurines. After watching one video, I need a smaller brush in order to fill in eye detail. Here they are seated in their seats. So here I have my finished hunting tiger, the Jagdtiger Panzer 5 Plus. Out of 150 of these tanks ordered for the German army, only 75 were completed. Only 3 of them still remain in the world. One can be found in Russia, one can be found in Great Britain, and one can be found in America. If you have any thoughts about how you would have done something differently, please comment below. And as always, thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe.